75% of the global population are going to the polls this year. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to uncover what is in the manifestos and what does it mean to investors. Of course, should you uncover any inconsistencies or untruths in what the politicians have said, they will deny everything. This tape will self-destruct in 5 seconds. That's right, and welcome to Bloke in the Pub, Mission Improbable, where we also do our own stunts, which is mainly because we haven't got the budget. But nonetheless, in your face, Tom Cruise. We know he watches. Nothing but love for you. Anyway, it's election fever, and we felt we really needed to say something about that because in this reality, I'm sure there are many others, but in this reality, we've taken leave of our senses, and 75% of the global population is going to be going to the polls and participating in elections this year. Now, we've had a couple already. Most notably, we've had one in Russia. We've had an election in Russia. I say election with air rabbits because obviously there were some question marks about that election. I'm not going to call it into question personally, not for fear of reprisals, because when have they ever hurt anyone? But just I'm not an expert on running elections. But Vladimir Putin is back in the Kremlin, obviously. We've had European elections for the European Parliament with a massive swing to the right in France, which has led Emmanuel Macron to call an election there, which is coming up soon. And as you well know, we've got Independence Day, 4th of July. The British people go to the polls in the UK parliamentary elections as well. And right at the moment, we're at the business end of the election campaign with all the manifestos starting to come out. And we'll put a few links in here to where you can go and find those. But broadly speaking, what you've got is in order of which they launched their manifestos, I suppose, or something like that. The Liberal Democrats basically want to make it a legal right to access care within certain time periods, and they want to raise taxes from companies to pay for that. The Greens want to raise taxes to pay for their agenda. They haven't quite said how. Plaid Cymru want to have a really adult conversation about raising taxes because they need to do that. The Conservatives want to lower taxes, mainly through national insurance, but they do want to bring in national service at the same time. And then Labour, I think we've got a cutaway to basically to Keir Starmer and basically what he has been saying and what he needs to say to get elected. I think we've got a quick cutaway of that. There you go, that's really all he probably needs to do to get elected at this stage. And then you've got the SNP, and their manifesto is basically freedom, which is superb. Obviously, a shout out to our patron Mel Gibson there and Braveheart. So that's basically where we are. But none of them are dealing with are really the three mission improbables, the elephants in the room. The first one is none of the major UK parties are talking about is how they're going to actually meet their manifesto pledges when we are massively indebted as a country. Because as a result of the credit crunch and then Brexit, we had the conditions for inflation taking off. Then with the 400 billion quid we spent on COVID, we are massively in debt. And the cost of servicing that debt has been massively increased by Prime Minister Liz Truss, shortest serving Prime Minister in British history. And the speech from outer space given by Kwasi Kwarteng as her Chancellor, which has massively increased the interest payments on the already unmanageable debt. No one's really talking about that. So that's mission improbable number one. We need to hear from them on that. Mission improbable number two is this really speaking to what voters want? And we saw some examples of this recently. And I'm not picking on him in particular. It's only because Keir Starmer's not saying anything that I can't say anything about that. Mr. Sunak recently said that he fully understands what it's like to have a hard time growing up because his parents had to cancel their Sky subscription so he'd go to private school. Okay, fair enough. And really, the electorate typically won't be joining the dots between, for example, the credit crunch, Brexit, COVID, the cost of all of that and the implications for the economy. They're really going to be thinking about why are 2 pints of beer costing me 15 quid now when a year or two ago it only cost me 5? And there is an implication maybe that our politicians in their mission improbable are not as connected with how the things that will actually influence the way people vote. The final mission improbable, and this is the really big one, is that while we are having an election here, and there are elections all around the world, and we'll pop up a quick list, we'll scroll through it quickly of all the countries in the world that are electing as well. The big one where there will be fireworks is November the 5th, obviously, which is the United States. The big Dukaroo, albeit slow and geriatric, between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. And we're going to say more about that in some Mission Improbables we'll be doing in the future. But really, that's the actual big one that we need to look at, which really does have the potential to change the trajectory of human affairs forever. And as I say, that's the final Mission Improbable we all need to think about and keep in context while this election unfolds. Of course, we'll be here to handhold you through that. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to join us in following broadcasts, and we'll see you soon.